All right. First thing I have to say. Okay, you buy it, you put it in your PS3. Stop. Stop and go back if you did not play the first three games. Please, please play them first. The
I heard.
story,
I
what?
don't mean to. I heard that the install for the beginning of this game is like 10 minutes long.
It's not only the install for the beginning, but I'm gonna get to that in the
Okay.
gameplay. Um, Remind me though. Let me remind myself. Um, the story, although it is epic and it would be awesome, as a standalone title, it makes everything so much more exciting. Because if you're a fan of Metal Gear, you know they like to do twists in the story, and this game delivers some of the best twists. So if you know who the characters are, and if you know what's going on, like the general situation, this game doesn't take the time out to explain everything over again. So you'll be a little confused, although it's not that bad. But it's much more impactful when you actually know who they are and what's going on, and it's more of a jaw-dropping moment for the story. But for those who have played the first three games, um, forget what you have come to know and love about the controls, because that's gone out the window. Bye bye. Uh, the controls were completely westernized. No longer pressing the square button to shoot and the circle button to confirm instead of X. Mm-mm. You have to do your aiming and shooting with L1 and R1. The trigger buttons are still to scroll through the weapon, so that's okay. Um, the gameplay, people who know about Metal Gear know that gameplay kind of takes a little bit of a backseat because lots of cutscenes. You have to get your snacks ready. You have to be ready to sit through cutscenes that are really usually around 10 minutes long, probably at very shortest. Um, the end, I'm not going to obviously say what happens, but I clocked the ending cutscene from the very end of the final boss to be an hour and 15 minutes total. There are several
Gosh.
points. Yeah, there are several points where you can stop and get up. Stupid loading screen. But other than that, after you get past a certain point in the credits and whatnot, you can't pause it for like 40 minutes. But so I wouldn't recommend this game for people who don't like to sit through the cinematics. For the people who like constant gameplay and maybe a 5 minute cutscene every now and then, you probably won't like this too much. The loading screen, like Joe was saying, this game is divided into five acts. Before every act, you have to install.
Wow.
Yeah, the first loading screen is much longer, but they're still quite lengthy. Every time you finish an act and you get your total screen and you hear that little beeping, you know it's going to be an install screen. And you see Snake standing there smoking the whole entire time.
And
Like,
it gives you warnings too.
I know, like, smoking can endanger people's health. Use an ashtray. And then it's great because if you've been playing the game for a long time, or if it's like a long time, like late in the night, I actually got a message on there on the loading screen that said, "It's after 2 a.m. You should really take a break."
Oh my gosh.
It was great. And I took a break just because it took the time out to tell me. But that was great. The bosses are epic as usual. Obviously, like in the past three games, usually there are like four or five main bosses that are part of some organization or other. I'm not going to get into depth about the story. I don't want to spoil anything, but these bosses, some of the most beautiful sceneries I've ever seen, great epic music, fits very well with the series. Um, you do get very used to the controls, even though they're different than the first three games. Um, let's see what else about this game. Obviously, there are twists and changes in the story that are just wonderful and so rewarding after playing four whole games worth. But I would give this game 4 stars only because people who don't like the cinematics and they're really a lot of the gameplay you'll be playing for 5 minutes and then watching a 30-minute cutscene. So you have to be willing to sacrifice some gameplay for some really, really stunning cutscenes. So if you can't sit through that, then maybe this isn't for you. But I give it about a 4.
4 out of 5. So what
4 out
are
of 5.
gotta say, what are the pros of this game, and what are the cons? Pros first.
The pros are I do think the controls work better. A lot of people are used to hitting the Xbox to confirm the Xbox. What the heck? The
Hitting
X button. Everybody hits their Xbox after a certain amount of time.
after
But anyway,
red ring, they'll hit
red
it.
ring. Yeah, right. The X button to confirm, and getting used to hitting the circle in the first 3 games was a little weird, but that's natural. I like the aiming. Um, the graphics are wonderful. The battles are epic. The storyline is great as always. A good way to conclude, well, sort of conclude the series. Obviously, Kojima's making other games, but this is the main storyline's end. So, um, just and great music too. I think everything fits in perfectly together. The cons, like I said, real,
Cinematics are
really, really, yeah, they're just so long. Um, a lot of people might have trouble getting used to the new controls. I've heard a lot of people who actually stopped playing the game because they were confusing. What else?
I think it's weird they don't have multiple control schemes. Like you can't go back to the classic way and then the new way if you want.
Right, like configure that. Yeah, you don't really. I thought you could, but it was the screen I was on was just telling you what all the new controls did, so that wasn't it. Um, the cons, you have to see an old guy fighting people and shooting them. And then,
Old Snake himself is a con.
yeah, I think so. Half the game you have to endure him choking his heart out. I mean, I feel so bad for him. No, no, Old Snake isn't that bad. But
He's old.
um
He's oldie time Snake.
Oldie Timer Snake, that's what I call him, Oldie Timer. But other than that, this is a great game. And I think for fans of one like war type games with guns, even though there's more to the storyline than just war, but any kind of shooting fans, it's not an FPS, it's not, but if you're a fan of that, and if you're a fan of long cinematics and big, long, drawn-out story, go ahead. Yep, you should buy it. If
Yeah, so
not, then maybe you should rent it and try it out.
definitely just a buy. It's definitely a buy.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay.
definitely.